I believe that we're each the hero in our own story. And if we go and watch a movie or read a fictional book, um, we don't really stick with it if we never see the lead character change or transform or go through a journey. We don't go there to watch someone stay the same. And it's the same with our lives, because essentially the world is a stage. And yeah, where is the transformation if we don't attract in a catalyst of change? Now, a catalyst could be a challenge or, an event, or typically it's some sort of like villain. And, the hero cannot be the hero without the villain. Look at what the villain does. The villain extracts the strength and the virtues out of the hero, who would have otherwise just been living a completely normal and bland life. So in that way, the villain can be seen as much as a hero in the grand unfolding of events as the hero. If not, the villain can even be seen as being taking on the greatest sacrifice. Because look at, I guess how the light has been able to extract even more light by using shadows and darkness to, illuminate itself even more. And this is quite a nice, beautiful way to look at life, because if we take now what's kind of like a trendy term, narcissist and empath, which is kind of like another way, a modern way of saying villain and hero. Now, what I don't really like, I guess, about calling, someone a narcissist is that it's not really a nice word to use, and it's laced with not nice descriptions of what a human is. Usually selfish, lacking empathy, projecting, and what are the others? Gaslighting, all of that stuff. Now, if we sort of label someone as that, even if they do possess those qualities, when we label someone as that, we almost meet a narcissist at its own charge, because it dehumanizes them. It makes them into sort of this very one-dimensional being. And what do they go around doing? They kind of dehumanize people as well. So I don't believe in, matching hate with hate, because when you do that, you're running on the same frequency, and you're always going to attract something like that in. So my personal experience in dealing with what is now known as narcissists, I never used to know what they were. It is a learning journey, big one. Ultimately, when you're given enough space to heal, is that you treat them with love and forgiveness and gratitude for going through that experience. That can be a long journey. It's a place I have reached, and man, there is peace there, and there is wisdom, and because if you hate, you get hate back. Now, I don't want to call a narcissist a narcissist. I think really what's going on there is they suffer from self-hatred, because they suffer from that. If someone is going around thinking that there is hate in the world, there's hate there, there's hate there, there's hate there, and they program themselves to say, that's a hateful person there, that's a hateful person there, then all your reality is going to do is present you with people who appear to be hateful. If you are full of self-love and you program your reality to be full of love and see love everywhere, in every way, even if it sometimes doesn't appear to be that way, then all you will see is love. Now, with someone who suffers from self-hatred, if you if you sort of meet them in wherever, space, time, their energy, if you come across one, if you just give them love, well, that's your frequency, then you are sort of opposing their beliefs about reality. It completely disrupts it. And if they really want to go down that program and continue onward and say, no, the world is full of hate, then the only choice they have is to turn away and find somebody else who will give them hate, who will tell them that, yes, the world is full of hate. That's what they do. And they kind of seek that out in their reality. They can't really bathe in the frequency of love unless they learn how to do that somehow themselves. So I think that love is the most powerful shield and protection of all time. They say that there's a saying that if you are in a very extremely high frequency, just pure love, bliss, maybe quite sixth to eighth dimensional, and that's quite a continuous thing for you, you could walk through the savannah and a lion wouldn't even be able to see you, because it's just not on that same frequency of you. They wouldn't even be able to go near you because you're not acting like a prey. They cannot sniff the fear. That's kind of a very interesting thought, if we believe that our reality isn't totally physical, it's all dimensional and sort of based on frequencies aligning, misaligning, all of that. So I'm going to tell a quick, I don't know if it's a story, hopefully it's quick, story about some lions and an antelope. Kind of just came, this vision of this antelope just came down as I thought about what I was going to say in this video. And so if we think about, an antelope is in the herd on the savannah, and she says to the other antelopes, like, is this really all there is? It's grass along every horizon. Kind of the other antelope lift their necks up, going like, well, yeah, it's enough, isn't it? But it wasn't enough for this antelope, and so she left the herd and walked, and they were kind of right. All there was grass and more grass and more grass. She fell asleep and then woke up one morning surrounded by a circle of sleeping, almost like dozing lions. She sort of got up. I thought, oh my god, I've got to sneak through them. Also, why didn't they eat me while I was asleep? But just as she was passing, one wakes up. Where are you going? The lion asked it. Well, I'm just going over there. And the lion says, no, we're here to protect you. Didn't you see? We didn't eat you. We left you there. You can go on eating the grass. We'll protect you from all the other lions and the hyenas out there. You're on your own. And she believed them. And a couple of days in, the lion said to her, well, you are eating the grass and we eat meat. So it's only fair. And before the lion got to finish that sentence, the antelope said, no, please, take a little bit of meat from me. She offers it to them. And so they did. They all had like a tiny little bite and nibble. It was okay. She was giving them something back. But as the days went on, they took another bite and another bite and another bite until she was just left to what was just a tiny tufts of fur and bone. So much so that she didn't have the strength to stand up or walk away anymore. And as they were done with her, discarded, no more need for her, they left her, abandoned her, vulnerable to all of those lions and hyenas they swore they were protecting her from. But she stood up, like beaten, broken, could barely recognize the antelope she had become. And she walked and she walked, and she knew she couldn't stay on any of these grasslands because someone would take her if she fell asleep again. And she walked and walked until she saw a strange boundary in the distance, black and green. It was a forest. She'd never seen a forest before. There'd been myths told her about it, like when she was a young antelope. But her mothers and aunts and father said, never go in the forest, don't go in there. You'll never come out. It's too dark. It's no place for an antelope. But it was the only place she could go where she felt she could hide and maybe heal. And in there was no grass, but there were berries and frogs and beautiful sounds that the birds made, and it was a completely different experience. Her wounds began to heal, and it was there the forest began to speak to her. And as she was feeling stronger, anger came through at just how foolish she'd been in letting those lions treat her in such a way. She should never have stayed. But the forest said back to her, if you'd never have come across those lions, you would never have found the forest. You'd have never have come this way. And then she understood that it was those villains that she had attracted in her life, that she had even sought them in some way, that had forged this new path that became the only way. And they did, even if they were unconscious of it, direct her towards the forest. And she healed, and she was stronger and wiser than she sort of ever was before. Her awareness expanded. She was sort of more broad and wise than any other antelope she'd met before, because they'd all stayed on the grasslands in their herds doing the same thing over and over again. And so she left the forest with the weight and the power of the forest always behind her. And she walked directly up to the pack of lions that were now surrounding a new antelope, half eaten, thinking it was doing the right thing by being protected by these lions. And none of the lions recognized her. They left her as dust before. They'd never seen such a strong antelope who sort of walked without any fear up to them as well. She didn't run away. And she just went up to this new antelope and said to this antelope, I was once you, sat right there. But it was the most important thing that ever happened in my life, because I went over there to the forest. I can take you if you want to go. And she continued doing that with every antelope she came across who was surrounded by these lions. Most of them stayed and believed the lions were there to protect them, but some of them followed her, and gradually more and more antelope found their way into the forest, and the forest began to speak to them too. And when she went back home to that original grassland with her herd of antelope that she came from, she said to them all, there's a whole forest out there. You wouldn't believe it, and it speaks to you as well. And none of them believed her, because they'd never been out of their little invisible fence of the grasslands. They'd never had the suffering from the lions that forces the hero into transcending and going beyond and further into something magical, further than anyone else. So there we can find the gratitude for whatever shape or form a villain takes in our life. We can find forgiveness. And look, you only learn forgiveness when you go through something. You don't forgive people who've never done anything to you. You forgive them when, I guess something traumatic has happened. But when you sort of let go of all of that blame and think, oh, wow, gosh, where would I have been if that hadn't happened to me? And why did I attract that into my life? And you sort of take full responsibility over your reality And then you realise there is no one to blame, and only you're left with feeling only sort of thankful for everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So everything makes a hero. Wiser, stronger, more courageous, resilient. And yeah, transforming is a wonderful alchemic sort of thing. And if we look at what, say, a person who suffers from self-hatred, they barely ever change. It's very rare that they do. They always do the same. And so their life is never going to change. And the program that they experience is their program, and it's their choice. But for others, for the heroes, all of the heroes that we are in our own lives, we can just expand and we can control our thoughts and our emotions. So yeah, I think it's a really sort of peaceful way to look at life. It's very hard to sometimes look at, I guess, what we see as bad things in a good way, but it's really transformative when we do. If we look at something that can be really collectively called a villain, I was trying to think of the perfect thing, where everyone sort of agrees that it's bad right now. It's not like it's not a person. And if we see, I guess, COVID, whole COVID era, whatever that was about, and so whether you believe it was a farce or it was not, whether it was purposely done or an accident, whether it was natural or artificial, or an agenda behind it or no agenda at all, I think all sides think that it was bad. Now, if we try and take a look at it in the way that I have just described, okay, well, how can we see if a villain is actually, the darkness is light in disguise? How can we see it in that way? And so if we go hop and travel onto a different timeline, a one where COVID, the trigger of COVID, never happens. Maybe everything goes along, continuing the same. But do people wake up? Does humanity wake up to its own inner power on the timeline where COVID doesn't happen as compared to when it happened? No. The timeline where COVID happens, more people wake up to their own sense of empowerment. Just anecdotally, I've sort of seen that more people have started their own businesses, don't really want to work the 9 to 5, became sort of digital nomads, value freedom and healthy foods over what was before just quite materialistic and just sort of going along with the crowd. More people questioned the system than ever before after COVID. Whereas when things sort of go mildly okay, there's kind of sometimes no point, I guess, in questioning a system when it's all right, it's kind of working for most people. It's only when it goes really in your face that not only do you question that, but you begin to question everything that's gone before as well. So that's how sometimes something that seems to be bad or looks like a villain can really trigger an awakening in a way. And so, wow, we can really see something that we've previously thought as bad as actually just a catalyst for change. And when I asked someone when COVID first happened, it's like someone intuitive, what's this about? And they responded with, it's Earth's immune system kicking in. I was like, okay. It's kind of, again, like a weird metaphorical way of looking at something. But I guess in hindsight, you could see it in that way. And if we think that everything is a mirror, I guess that COVID sort of triggered an immune response in all its ways in, the majority of the population. And so that's a mirror of what COVID was initially doing for Earth and being an immune response. And what is an immune response? It's kind of a purge, a way of detoxing, a way of getting, I guess, the bad stuff out. Like we look at a sneeze sometimes as a bad thing, or a cough, or a fever. Whereas actually, these are just symptoms of getting what we no longer want or no longer serves us out. So yeah, COVID in a weird way could be seen as a symptom or an immune response from Earth, planet Earth, who is a conscious being in itself, who wants change, who wants more alignment, who wants more harmony, and that's what a body would want if it produces an immune response as well. Wants to detox. I mean to, I guess, get rid of the systems that are destroying her. Getting rid of, I guess, the excess materialism, taking too much from her. And that was a way that can trigger so many different pathways. If we think of like humans as being the Earth's microbiome, that can trigger so many of us to, eventually collectively work in more harmonious ways with each other and with all the species of Earth and Earth itself. That's what it was about. So, next time there's a villain, it's like, it's about asking, well, why are they here? Why did I attract them into my life? What do I have to learn from this scenario? Do I have to learn that I need to stand up for myself? Do I have to learn how to walk away, how to say no to something? Do I have to move somewhere else? It could be so many ways as to you, but usually it's not a villain or a catalyst or whatever. It wants to sort of transform you into a happier place if we listen to it. It's not about staying, it's not about putting up with shit, it's not about saying bad acts are good. It's about, okay, how do I become stronger and more resilient from this? How do I become wiser from this? And then how do I not react with hate coming towards me? How do I react with love and compassion and forgiveness? And every single time, a hater is only looking for someone to hate them back. If you love them, they will turn away until they find someone to confirm their reality is full of hate. Leave them do it. And when you embody that frequency of love and compassion for everyone, and including villains, including who you may not perceive to be good, then only love will come your way. Unless you need another catalyst for change along the line, who knows? So I hope that helps, and I hope that it comes across as peaceful as I feel about it.